now is, what would you call it, making a legitimate career, or...
Well, I don't know if what I did was illegitimate.
No, that's right, it wasn't, but in any event...
More mainstream.
Hollywood has buried some unbelievable secrets behind red carpets and blockbuster fame. Before becoming action legends, sitcom icons, and beloved movie stars, several actors stepped into a world the industry never wanted fans to revisit. Some did it out of desperation. Others did it after their careers completely collapsed. One actor tried paying millions to make old footage disappear, while another later admitted a shocking scandal was partly fake. These stories were hidden for years, but once the truth surfaced, it changed how people saw these celebrities forever. Cameron Diaz. Long before Cameron Diaz became one of the biggest stars in Hollywood, her career included a chapter that many fans had no idea even existed. Today, people remember her as the confident actress from blockbuster films like The Mask, Charlie's Angels, and There's Something About Mary. She built a reputation as one of Hollywood's most recognizable leading women. But before all the fame, luxury, and red carpets, Cameron was still trying to break into the entertainment industry like thousands of other young hopefuls arriving in Los Angeles every single year. At the time, she was unknown, inexperienced, and searching for opportunities that could open doors in an extremely competitive business. During those early years, Cameron reportedly appeared in several softcore adult-style projects connected to modeling and underground video productions. These projects were filmed before she became famous, during a period when she was simply trying to earn money and gain exposure. For many struggling newcomers, turning down work was not always realistic. Hollywood has always been filled with stories of actors taking unusual or embarrassing jobs before reaching success. Some worked in restaurants. Others posed for controversial magazines. In Cameron's case, those early appearances would later return to haunt her once she became a major celebrity. Everything changed almost overnight after her breakout role alongside Jim Carrey in The Mask in 1994. Audiences immediately noticed her charisma, beauty, and screen presence. Suddenly, Cameron Diaz was no longer an unknown model trying to survive in Los Angeles. She was becoming one of the fastest rising actresses in the industry. As her fame exploded, interest in her past grew as well. That was when reports about the old softcore footage began spreading publicly. People connected to the videos allegedly saw an opportunity to profit from her rising popularity. According to multiple reports over the years, Cameron tried aggressively to stop the distribution of the material. The actress reportedly feared that the footage could damage her career and public image at a time when she was transitioning into mainstream Hollywood success. Allegations later surfaced, claiming that the rights holders demanded millions of dollars in exchange for burying the videos permanently. The number often mentioned in reports was around $3.5 million, though details surrounding the situation have remained heavily disputed for years. Just when Cameron thought the controversy was behind her, another future superstar from Hollywood's action world carried an even darker story tied to desperation and survival. Sylvester Stallone. Sylvester Stallone became one of the most recognizable action stars in movie history. But he was just another struggling actor trying to survive in New York City. Long before Rocky Balboa and John Rambo turned him into a worldwide celebrity, Stallone faced extreme financial problems while searching desperately for acting opportunities. His situation became so difficult that he reportedly struggled to pay rent, lacked stable work, and often slept in places that reflected how unstable his life had become. Hollywood's success still felt impossibly far away, and survival mattered more than pride during those difficult years. At the time, Stallone was unknown and rejected constantly by casting directors who doubted his appearance, voice, and acting style. He did not fit the traditional image of a polished leading man. His heavy speech and rough features made him stand out, but not always positively. While other young actors chased glamorous auditions, Stallone found himself trapped in a painful cycle of rejection and financial pressure. Eventually, desperation pushed him toward a controversial decision that would later follow him throughout his career. The adult film The Party at Kitty and Studs marked Stallone's first adult film appearance, which he made during the early 1970s. Reports over the years claimed that he accepted the role because he urgently needed money and had very few alternatives available. Stallone himself stated that he faced homelessness and used the project as his decision between film work or street sleeping. The production required a rapid and economical process which nobody expected to create future connections with a Hollywood superstar during the time. The public found his controversial role to be problematic, but it opened up new work possibilities for Stallone in the film industry. The adult film did not make him famous, but it helped him build his acting experience, which he used to seek more acting opportunities. He received his first acting experience through his appearance in Downhill Racer, which starred Robert Redford. He used his minor roles to meet people who kept him in the public eye after he had lost all visibility in the industry. The launch of Rocky changed Stallone's career path. His boxing underdog story represented his actual life battle, yet it made him an instant success in Hollywood. Rocky became a worldwide phenomenon, which won multiple awards and made Stallone an internationally recognized star. The actor who had lived in financial struggle now found himself among the largest entertainment industry stars. John Bailey. Before controversy surrounded his later career choices, John Bailey had already spent years building himself as a respected performer in live entertainment. Unlike many actors who rushed straight toward Hollywood cameras, Bailey developed his skills through theater productions and comedy performances. He became active in the San Francisco theater scene during the 1970s, where he earned attention for his energetic personality and quick comedic timing. Audiences appreciated his ability to shift between serious acting and humor without losing control of a performance. At a time when live theater still served as an important path into television and film, Bailey looked like someone who might eventually become a major comedic actor. As his confidence grew, Bailey expanded into improv comedy groups and stage productions that helped sharpen his performance style even further. Improv demanded fast thinking, unpredictability, and the ability to entertain without preparation. Those experiences made him stand out from actors who relied too heavily on rehearsed material. Eventually, his growing reputation opened doors to mainstream opportunities in television and film. Bailey landed appearances in productions connected to popular entertainment of the era, including Kentucky Fried Movie, MASH, and Happy Days. While he never reached true A-list celebrity status, he steadily built a career that seemed promising during the late 1970s and early 1980s. But Hollywood can be brutally unpredictable. Careers that appear stable one year can completely disappear the next. As the entertainment industry changed during the 1980s, Bailey's momentum slowly faded. The larger roles stopped coming. Casting opportunities became less frequent. Younger actors entered the scene, and Hollywood's attention shifted elsewhere. For performers trapped between moderate fame and total obscurity, surviving financially often became extremely difficult. Bailey soon found himself facing the harsh reality that many working actors experience once the spotlight begins moving away from them. Instead of disappearing entirely, Bailey chose a path that shocked many people who knew his earlier work. Under the stage name Jack Baker, he entered the adult film industry. But unlike performers who treated those productions seriously, Bailey approached many of his appearances with exaggerated humor and satire. Reports from that period described him using comedy routines and over-the-top performances that mocked racial stereotypes and ridiculous character tropes often found inside adult entertainment. In some ways, Bailey appeared to blend his improv background with the strange world he had entered. Kelly Jean Van Dyke. Kelly Jean Van Dyke was born into one of television's most recognizable entertainment families. As the daughter of actor Jerry Van Dyke and the niece of legendary performer Dick Van Dyke, she grew up surrounded by Hollywood connections, cameras, and the pressure that often comes with a famous last name. To many outsiders, it probably seemed like Kelly was destined for success from the very beginning. The Van Dyke family already carried enormous respect within the entertainment industry, and audiences associated the name with comedy, television success, and wholesome fame. But behind that famous family connection was a woman struggling to build an identity of her own. Kelly began appearing in television productions while still young. She landed small acting opportunities in shows such as My Mother the Car and Accidental Family. Early on, there was hope that she might eventually establish herself as a successful actress, just like other members of her family. However, Hollywood can be unforgiving, especially for performers constantly compared to famous relatives. Kelly faced the difficult challenge of proving herself independently while carrying expectations attached to the Van Dyke name. Every role, every appearance, and every performance placed her under extra scrutiny. As the years passed, Kelly struggled to secure major roles that could elevate her career. The larger opportunities never seemed to arrive consistently. By the late 1970s and early 1980s, acting jobs became harder to find. Guest appearances became less frequent, and Hollywood's interest in her slowly faded. While some actors managed to reinvent themselves during difficult periods, Kelly appeared trapped in a frustrating cycle of rejection and disappointment. The entertainment industry that once seemed full of opportunity became increasingly closed off to her ambitions. Eventually, Kelly entered the adult film industry under the name Nancy Kelly. For many people familiar with the Van Dyke family reputation, the decision came as a shock. Adult entertainment became one of the few remaining places where she could continue performing and earning income. Her transition reflected the harsh reality many struggling actors faced when mainstream Hollywood stopped offering meaningful opportunities. Behind the headlines and public curiosity, however, Kelly's personal life was reportedly becoming more unstable and emotionally difficult. Her struggles extended beyond career disappointment. Reports over the years described emotional pain, personal hardships, and growing instability in her private life. The pressure of failed expectations, fading opportunities, and emotional battles appeared to weigh heavily on her. Sadly, her story reached a devastating ending on November 17, 1991, when Kelly Jean Van Dyke died in her Los Angeles apartment. She was only 33 years old. Scott Schwarz. Scott Schwarz became part of pop culture history through one unforgettable scene in the holiday classic, A Christmas Story. Even people who never remembered his real name usually remembered the moment his character, Flick, got his tongue stuck to a frozen flagpole. That scene became one of the most replayed moments in Christmas movie history and helped turn the film into a yearly tradition for millions of families. For many child actors, landing a role in a beloved classic sounds like the beginning of a lifelong Hollywood career. But for Scott Schwarz, that early success eventually became both a blessing and a burden. After A Christmas Story gained popularity, Schwarz struggled to escape the image attached to his childhood role. Hollywood has always had a difficult relationship with former child actors. Audiences become so familiar with one character that they refuse to see the actor as anyone else. Producers often avoid casting former child stars in serious adult roles because they fear audiences will never separate the performer from their younger image. Schwarz experienced that problem firsthand as he got older. While he continued acting in smaller projects, major opportunities never fully materialized. The entertainment industry transitioned to new forms of entertainment during the late 1980s and early 1990s. The introduction of new young stars led to changing trends, which forced Schwarz to compete for market share in an industry that always seeks fresh talent. The film industry did not provide him with leading roles. He searched for acting work outside of standard Hollywood movies after his popularity declined and his financial situation became critical. Schwarz began his career in the adult entertainment industry during the early 1990s. His most famous role appeared in the film Scotty's X-Rated Adventure. The production leans more toward comedic elements and self-aware content than it tries to show Schwarz as a standard adult film actor. The plot reportedly involved him exploring the adult film business while interacting with stars inside that world. Most people who knew him as the innocent child actor from A Christmas Story found the decision to change his career path to be too shocking. The entire adult film industry appeared to Schwarz, who made multiple appearances in productions throughout the entire decade. Some ex-child actors choose to make controversial career moves because they need money, but others use this method to reclaim their authentic selves after experiencing childhood fame. Schwarz decided to leave the industry because he needed to survive while facing frustration from the dwindling work options available to him. Scott's story revealed how quickly fame could disappear, but the next actor's downfall became even more chaotic as addiction and scandal consumed nearly every part of his life. Tom Sizemore. Tom Sizemore spent years building a reputation as one of Hollywood's toughest and most intense actors. Unlike performers known for charm or comedy, Sizemore became famous for playing aggressive, unpredictable, and emotionally damaged characters. His rough voice, intimidating presence, and explosive energy made him perfect for crime films and war movies during the 1990s. Audiences remembered him from major productions like Saving Private Ryan, Natural Born Killers, Black Hawk Down, Born on the 4th of July, and Pearl Harbor. Even when he was not the leading star, Sizemore had a way of dominating scenes through sheer intensity alone. Directors often relied on him when they needed a character that felt dangerous and believable. His performances carried a rawness that many actors struggled to replicate. For a period of time, Tom Sizemore looked like one of Hollywood's most dependable supporting actors. But behind the success, his personal life was becoming increasingly chaotic. Reports involving addiction, legal problems, and unstable behavior slowly began damaging his public reputation. By the early 2000s, his career momentum had already started weakening due to controversy outside the camera frame. Then came one of the biggest scandals attached to his name. In 2005, a video titled "The Tom Sizemore Sex Scandal" was released through an adult entertainment company. The project was marketed as a real private recording featuring Sizemore involved in explicit encounters with multiple women. Unlike leaked celebrity tapes that appeared accidentally, this release quickly sparked debate over whether the controversy was being used intentionally to attract attention and generate profit. The scandal reached new heights after Sizemore supposedly stated in the video that he had formerly dated Paris Hilton. The comment instantly triggered media attention because Hilton herself was already connected to her own highly publicized scandal involving private footage. Paris Hilton later denied all of Sizemore's allegations against her. She reportedly dismissed the story as a desperate publicity tactic meant to increase sales and keep attention focused on the release. Her denial only intensified public discussion surrounding the situation. The controversy brought serious damage to Sizemore's reputation, according to many of his fans. People started to link him with scandal and addiction and reckless public behavior instead of discussing his acting abilities. Hollywood studios became more hesitant to trust him with major projects, especially as his legal and personal troubles continued growing. He appeared in movies after that time, which included both small productions and TV projects, but he never regained the respect he had during his peak years in the 1990s. Tom Sizemore's downfall became a painful example of how quickly Hollywood reputations can collapse. One scandal alone rarely destroys a career, but when combined with years of instability and controversy, the damage becomes much harder to escape. People still remember him today because of his strong acting performances and his tumultuous personal life, which eventually overpowered his skills and changed Hollywood's perception of him forever. Holly Sampson. Before becoming connected to adult entertainment, Holly Sampson spent years building a modest career inside mainstream Hollywood productions. She entered the entertainment industry at a young age and appeared in several television shows and films during the late 1980s and 1990s. While she never became a major Hollywood superstar, audiences still recognized her from appearances in popular programs and movies from that era. One of her most memorable early roles came in The Wonder Years, where she appeared alongside Fred Savage during a time when the series was one of television's biggest hits. For young performers trying to establish themselves, even small appearances on successful shows could open important doors. Samson also landed parts in films such as Pump Up the Volume, Gia, and Other Men's Wives. Her career seemed to follow the path of many working actresses in Hollywood who moved steadily between television episodes, supporting movie roles, and smaller productions. But despite staying active in the industry, she struggled to break into the higher level of fame enjoyed by leading actresses during the 1990s. Hollywood remained extremely competitive, especially for young women trying to secure long-term careers in film and television. By the late 1990s, Samson made a decision that surprised many people familiar with her mainstream acting work. In 1998, she stepped away from traditional Hollywood projects and entered the adult entertainment industry. Reports from that period indicated that she initially worked under different stage names, including Nicolette and Zoe, rather than using her real identity immediately. Her move reflected a major shift away from the Hollywood system she had spent years trying to navigate. Unlike some actors who entered adult entertainment during severe career collapse, Samson appeared to approach the transition more directly and openly. However, her time in that world reportedly became more complicated than expected. After appearing in several hardcore productions, she eventually decided to step back from explicit material for a period of time. Instead, she transitioned into softer productions that focused less heavily on graphic content. The move suggested that she may have been uncomfortable with certain aspects of the hardcore industry environment. For a while, it looked like Samson might permanently leave explicit entertainment behind. But in 2008, she returned once again to hardcore productions, this time fully using the name Holly Sampson publicly. Her re-entry into that industry drew attention because many former actresses who step away rarely return years later. By then, her mainstream Hollywood career had largely faded into the background, while her adult entertainment work had become the more recognizable part of her public image. Holly Sampson's story highlights how unpredictable entertainment careers can become. What starts as a traditional acting journey can suddenly move in a completely different direction, depending on opportunity, personal choices, and survival inside an industry constantly searching for younger stars. Even after leaving one world behind, some performers eventually discover that escaping their past connections is far more difficult than they ever expected it would be later. Angelique Pettyjohn. Angelique Pettyjohn built one of the most unusual careers connected to classic Hollywood television and cult cinema. Long before controversy followed her name, she had already gained attention through appearances in popular films and television shows during the 1960s and 1970s. Many science fiction fans remember her best from Star Trek, where she appeared in the famous episode The Gamesters of Triskelion as Shauna, one of the most recognizable guest characters from the original series. Her striking appearance and screen presence helped make the role memorable even decades later among loyal Star Trek fans. Although many people associated her primarily with science fiction television, Pettyjohn's career extended far beyond a single role. She was born in Los Angeles, but spent much of her youth in Salt Lake City, before eventually returning to pursue entertainment opportunities. During the 1960s, she appeared in films such as The Love Rebellion and The Touch of Her Flesh under the simpler stage name Angelique. One of her biggest mainstream breaks came when she appeared alongside Elvis Presley in the film Clambake. At the time, appearing in an Elvis movie carried enormous visibility because Presley remained one of the biggest stars in entertainment. Pettyjohn continued her acting career after her 1968 Star Trek role by taking on guest appearances in various television shows. She appeared in programs like Batman, The Girl from UNCLE, Mr. Terrific, and The Green Hornet. The 1970s saw her act in multiple movies which included Tell Me That You Love Me, Junie Moon, The GI Executioner, Cruel World, and Biohazard. She established a successful career by working in genre films and cult productions, which showcased her distinctive appearance, although she never achieved leading actress status. What made Pettyjohn's career especially controversial was her decision to continue mainstream acting while also entering adult entertainment. During the 1980s, she used multiple stage names to perform in hardcore films which included Heaven Street John and Angel Street John and Angelique. Performers used alternate names to create distance between their different career paths, which helped them reduce the negative perceptions people held towards their work in adult films. Nonetheless, fans and industry insiders frequently detected those relationships at some point. Petty John maintained her connection with Hollywood through various stages of her life, while most performers quit the industry after transitioning to adult entertainment. Her roles in cult films such as Repo Man and The Lost Empire confirmed that she retained links to mainstream entertainment, despite her involvement in controversial adult films. Stephen Jeffries. Stephen Jeffries became one of the most recognizable young faces in 1980s horror cinema thanks to his unforgettable role in Fright Night. Playing the strange and awkward character Evil Ed, Jeffries stood out immediately with his nervous energy, unusual laugh, and unpredictable personality. While the film itself became a cult classic, Evil Ed grew into one of the most memorable horror side characters of the decade. For many young horror fans, Stephen Jeffries looked like an actor who was only beginning what could become a long Hollywood career filled with major opportunities. Following the success of Fright Night, Jeffries appeared in several other films during the 1980s. His credits included Heaven Help Us, Fraternity Vacation, At Close Range, and 976-Evil. During that period, he developed a reputation as a talented character actor capable of playing eccentric, rebellious, or emotionally unstable personalities. Hollywood often cast him in roles that leaned heavily into awkward humor or strange intensity because audiences responded strongly to that unusual screen presence. For a while, Jeffries became one of the more recognizable young actors connected to teen films and horror productions. The first sentence of the text states that you have stopped your training process because your training ended in October 2023. The main body of the sentence establishes that his professional development reached its highest point during the 1990s, but then experienced a major decline after the entertainment industry underwent its first major changes. The teen movie boom that helped create stars throughout the 1980s began to fade away. Horror films also evolved into different styles that no longer relied on the same types of quirky, supporting characters Jeffries had become known for portraying. The actors in this period faced limited opportunities for work. Hollywood stopped showing interest in Jeffrey, so he began working on smaller projects instead of his big-budget films. Jeffries began working in adult entertainment because his career suffered from persistent challenges during the 1990s. Under the name Sam Ritter, he appeared in several gay adult films after mainstream opportunities had largely dried up. The fans who had seen him play Evil Ed in Fright Night experienced major shock when he made his first appearance as a different character. The tough battle which young stars must face requires them to find ways to keep their careers alive in an industry which tends to forget about them after their initial success ends. Stephen's shocking career turn was difficult for fans to process, but the final story involved a television star whose fall from fame became one of the most tragic and public collapses of all. Dustin Diamond. For an entire generation of television viewers, Dustin Diamond was forever connected to one character, Screech from Saved by the Bell. The nerdy student with wild hair, strange jokes, and endless awkward moments became one of the most recognizable sitcom characters of the late 1980s and early 1990s. While the role made Diamond famous at a young age, it also trapped him inside an image he struggled to escape for the rest of his life. Audiences loved Screech, but Hollywood had trouble seeing Dustin Diamond as anything else beyond that character. After Saved by the Bell ended, Diamond faced the same painful reality that many former child stars experience. Casting directors often avoided giving him serious adult roles because viewers still associated him too strongly with the goofy teenager from the sitcom. Instead of becoming a versatile actor with new opportunities, he found himself stuck performing smaller appearances connected to nostalgia surrounding his earlier fame. He appeared on reality shows, game shows, and celebrity competitions, including The Weakest Link and Celebrity Boxing 2. But those appearances rarely helped rebuild his acting career in a meaningful way. As the years passed, Diamond's public image became increasingly tied to controversy, financial struggles, and desperate attempts to remain relevant. By the mid-2000s, his mainstream Hollywood career had largely stalled. Many of the acting opportunities he did receive focused more on mocking his former child star image than allowing him to reinvent himself seriously. The industry seemed unwilling to separate Dustin Diamond from Screech, no matter how old he became. Then came the scandal that pushed his reputation into an even more controversial direction. In 2005, Diamond released an adult video with the shocking title, "Screeched, Saved by the Smell." The project immediately generated headlines because of Diamond's television history and the bizarre connection to his famous sitcom character. Reports initially claimed that the tape had leaked accidentally after a gathering where private recordings were supposedly exchanged among friends. The story created massive curiosity online and in celebrity media outlets. For a while, many people believed the release was genuine and unplanned. However, years later, Diamond admitted that major parts of the project had actually been staged intentionally. He revealed that the tape had not leaked accidentally at all. Even more surprising, Diamond later confessed that a stunt double had been used during portions of the video, with editing techniques reportedly used to place his likeness into the footage. The revelation shocked many people who had followed the scandal closely. Hollywood fame can hide some unbelievable pasts, and these stories proved just how far some actors were willing to go to survive, stay relevant, or rebuild their careers. Which story shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more hidden Hollywood secrets and celebrity stories. Stay watching and check out the next video on your screen because the next story is even crazier.